Am I the a-hole for admitting that I regret raising my ex's kid after what she did to my daughter? I-56 male said something in anger that, while at least partially true, maybe should have just taken to the grave. Legally have 3 kids, but played a fatherly role to 4. The 2 relevant children to this story is my daughter Michelle, 24 female, her sister Amy, 22 female, and my youngest daughter, Kelly, 21 female. Amy is not my daughter, but she and Michelle have the same mother, Jessica. When I was with Jessica, there was cheating on both sides, and the last guy she cheated on me with got her pregnant. After the DNA test proved that Amy was his, he bolted and stopped paying child support when Amy was 5. Jessica really struggled as a single mother, and Amy always felt bad that Michelle had a daddy while she didn't, and Michelle would tell me how guilty she felt. By the time Amy was around 9, I started making really good money, and decided to pay a little more than the legally mandated child support and taking Amy with me more. Jessica, Amy, and Michelle all loved this, and by the time Amy was 13, she was calling me dad, which I didn't mind. I thought I was doing a good thing at helping my daughter foster a loving relationship with Amy, and showing all my kids that just because things don't work out doesn't mean you still can't get along. Apparently, I was a little too nice in teaching the importance of sharing too much, because Amy got a crazy idea in her head that it was okay to share a man. And Michelle caught her sleeping with Kelly's boyfriend Jason, 22 male. Amy begged Michelle not to tell, and that this was a one-time thing. And Michelle believed her until she found out that Amy was pregnant and eventually came clean. Kelly was distraught and angry at both Amy and Jason, while hurt by Michelle. I didn't hide my disappointment at Michelle, and I have made it a point to tell her so every time we talked. I haven't spoken to Amy in months, but Jessica recently said that I've spent enough time being angry to get over it, and called me hypocrite because I used to be a Jason. I have no delusions about being the perfect partner in my past, but cheating with family members is not one of my sins. About a week ago, Amy came to my house crying and saying that while she knows she messed up, she really needs my support. She literally came not too long after Kelly cried herself to sleep again upstairs over what Amy and Jason did to her. So I calmly asked her how can I give again what I know I regret giving in the first place, then shut the door in her face. I then sent Michelle a text that while I still love her, Amy was no longer welcome in my life and to never bring her to my house. I've calmed down a bit, but I still feel like being involved in Amy's life was a bad choice. So am I the a-hole? Edit. Okay. I've been in and out of here because I had stuff to do, but I keep seeing some things that I wanted to make clear to everyone. 1. What Amy did wasn't a mistake. It was a series of choices that she made, and obviously would have continued to make it if someone else had not ratted her out. 2. Michelle didn't tell Kelly what Amy and Jason were doing until after she found out that Amy was pregnant, which was before Kelly and Jason moved in together. Meaning Michelle stood by and watched her sister moved in with and become financially tied to someone who was cheating on her. That's what Kelly and I are most upset about. 3. Yes, Jason is equally to blame as Amy. He's just not the one contacting me or showing up at my doorstep. 4. No, Amy and Kelly are not sisters. Not by blood, and certainly not in spirit as Kelly wants nothing to do with her. Now for the top comments. A lot of people will disagree, but the fact she expected to be treated as if nothing happened when she slept with her sister's boyfriend and got pregnant as a result is crazy. You did a kind thing raising her and helping her so much, but if she's repaying you and your bi kids by doing things like that, maybe it is right to get her out of your life. Plus, it sounds like the ex is more concerned you won't be there to financially support her daughter, rather than the fact she's pregnant with her sister's boyfriend's child. Good luck. Super surprised by people calling Opie an a-hole. He did a kind thing by accepting Amy as a daughter, but that doesn't mean he has to support her no matter what. Even bi kids can be cut out if they do something egregious like this. Opie's statement was purposefully hurtful, but not unwarranted. I think it's not about him wanting to cut ties/support Amy at all costs, but specifically the AITA is about regretting being involved in Amy's life. And he's done a wonderful thing there that he shouldn't regret, even though Amy has turned into an a-hole. Not the a-hole. When are people going to learn that recreational intimate activity with a family member's partner is a great way to completely burn down their lives? Never, evidently. People won't be forgiving and forgetting that one. And then the guilty one inevitably waves a baby in everyone's faces? Nice try, but no, thank you. You made the situation, now be an adult and deal with it without crocodile tears. I've seen so many people in the sub tell parents who have biological children in this situation that they're doing the wrong thing when they treat the sibling who cheated the same and expect the sibling who was cheated on to suck it up and forgive them. I don't know why it would be different just because one of these siblings isn't biologically yours. You are standing up for your daughter who was betrayed by her boyfriend and her sister. You're telling her sister that you don't support her and that you're disappointed in her. Did you maybe go a bit too far in saying you regret raising her? Some people might think so, but honestly, I don't. She did an unforgivable thing. Even if she was yours, I feel that you would have some regret as a parent that she never thought this was okay. Amy made a choice. She made it over and over again. Did she know all of the consequences of her choice? Probably not. Doesn't mean she shouldn't suffer the consequences of that choice. Next story. Am I the a-hole for forcing my daughter to find her own way to a wedding because of what she was wearing? My wife and I have 3 daughters, 19, 24, and 28. Our youngest, Jill, just started community college this year, while our 2 oldest have moved away to start their careers. Jill still lives with my wife and I as she is attending college locally, and this saves her money. This past weekend, we were invited to my niece's and goddaughter's wedding a couple hours away. The dress code was semi-formal, so men were expected to wear suits and women in dresses. As we were getting ready to leave, Jill was taking her sweet time getting ready, and I was kind of nagging at her to get going. She had been out late the night before with friends, and I'm sure she was feeling the effects of that. When she was finally ready to go, she was wearing some kind of black, spaghetti strap halter top thing with leggings. I told her that was not an appropriate outfit for her cousin's wedding, and that she needs to change into something else. She told me she doesn't have anything else to wear, and that I don't get to police what she's wearing. I told her that judging by the amount of dirty clothes on her floor and in her closet, she clearly has other options. She just didn't plan ahead enough to figure something out. I told her it was disrespectful to her cousin, the bride, to wear something too revealing and tacky to their wedding. Jill called me a jerk and said no one is going to care what she's wearing, and that if people focus on her clothes more than the bride, that's their problem, not hers. I told her in that case, how she's getting to the wedding is her problem, not mine. She asked what that meant, and I told her that if that's what she wants to wear, she's going to have to find her own way to the wedding, because I'm not going to arrive with my daughter looking like she's about to hit a club at 2 a.m. instead of attend her cousin's wedding. My wife chimed in at this point and told us both to calm down. She told me I was being overbearing, but also told Jill that she did not agree with her choice of attire either and reminded her this is a semi-formal event. She told Jill she would help her find a different option that would be better suited for this. Jill scoffed at that and went to her room and closed the door. I went and knocked and told her she has 15 minutes to be ready or we are leaving without her. She yelled at me that I was being an a-hole, so I went outside to wait, and after 20 minutes I went inside and Jill was still in her room. I told my wife that I'm leaving and she can either come with me now or her and Jill can figure out their own plans. My wife asked what Jill is supposed to do, and I said she can take an Uber for all I care at this point. My wife reluctantly left with me, and I could tell she felt guilty about the whole thing. Jill ended up not coming to the wedding, and both her and my wife blame me for it. I don't think I was the a-hole here, though. You're exactly right. Leggings and a halter top are not appropriate to wear at a wedding that is set to semi-formal attire. It shows disrespect to the bride, and it's embarrassing for you as well. But the people saying that you have no right to say, "I'm not taking you unless you change," have a double standard. They want to say that Jill is an adult and can wear what she wants / make her own choices, but they still don't believe that Jill should face the consequences of her own choices, and also take on that adult responsibility of having to figure out how to get to an event. Precisely. At 19, I fully understood the difference between semi-formal and not. There's no way I'd have showed up in anything other than a decent dress, no matter how crappy it felt. Jill still lives at home, so even as a legal adult, if she's relying on her parents for a ride, they have every right to say, "Not going in my car dressed like that." I've heard of friends even doing that if a group is carpooling to an event and someone is dressed way out of line. So yes, technically Jill can wear what she wants, but her ride can also say, "I'm not showing up with you if you're dressed like that." Not even a dress. A pantsuit would have sufficed, but leggings and a top for the club? No. I know that a lot of people will start going on about what a woman wears, but this is about not being up to the dress code. And while your daughter had a right to wear what she wanted, you also had a right not to be associated with her decisions on what she wanted to wear. You disagreed with her apparel, and as such, you weren't going to help her be disrespectful to her cousin by not going with the dress code. I put this in a similar category as if your daughter had decided to wear a white dress to the wedding. Yes, there's no law preventing it, but that doesn't mean you have to assist in her decisions. And if she's big enough to decide what she wants to wear, she's big enough to call an Uber. Not a haul. When did people forget that there are types of clothing that is inappropriate to wear in certain places/events? You aren't policing what she wears in that situation. If you can't dress appropriately, then don't go. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to contribute to my stepsister's retirement plan for our parents? My stepsister approached me and our other siblings with a proposal for a retirement plan to help our parents retire, since on the outside, their prospects of retiring comfortably are non-existent. Essentially, she wants us to collectively contribute £3,000 each month starting now and for the rest of our parents' lifetime. The money would be kept in an account in her name only, and only be given to them once my stepdad retires fully. She calculated our contributions based on what she thinks is our total household income. Currently, she would contribute £350, her bi-sister £550, my bi-sister £850, and me £1,250. I said no for a few reasons, but I did disclose these reasons to them. The first being my sister and I have always helped my mom financially, and by extension my stepdad, since we both had our first jobs. My sister and I have a joint account which we contribute to monthly. The money's our mom's, and she has full access to it and can spend it however she likes. My stepdad doesn't know about the accounts as he has a habit of just giving money away when he has it. The second, our parents had a religious marriage. It never registered it with the government, so they're not technically legally married. If my stepdad passes away before my mom, the money will most likely go to my stepsisters because my stepdad isn't the type to write a will. So, I think that's unfair, since both me and my sister are being expected to contribute the majority of the £3,000. The third, I don't trust this stepsister. She asks our parents for money constantly, and is partially the reason why their savings are non-existent. Lastly, I think it was a bit presumptuous of her to decide how much we would all contribute, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Especially since I'm a stay-at-home mom currently, so she's essentially just assuming my husband is going to pay on my behalf. After I said no, both my stepsisters flipped on me. They said I was selfish and greedy, that I should want to help our parents, especially their dad, since he used his hard-earned money to raise me. I got annoyed because they wouldn't drop it, and told them I didn't care. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. The money would be kept in an account in her name only. This was enough, but it only got worse from there. Don't give her a penny. That alone was why I said not the a-hole too. It was a bit presumptuous of her to decide how much we would all contribute, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Yes, it's one thing to suggest caring for your parents, another entirely to go, so you'll pay around £1,000 more a month than me, yeah? This is 50 shades of sketchy. So stepsister is proposing that she be the only one with access to the account. You would think she could at least be smart enough to lie and they'll all contribute the same amount. Currently, she would contribute £350, her bi-sister £550, my bi-sister £850, and me £1,250. So the mooch sister wants to create a fund for the parents, giving her sole authority to manage the money? I think she's either lying to you or lying to herself, and she wants more cash for herself. Why on earth would she administer this fund? She's the least significant contributor by her own plan. Not the a-hole. How generous of her with her siblings' money. How does she explain her having sole control while contributing the least? Whatever you do, don't do this. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom I won't take care of her once she's too ill to care for herself? I, female 19, am the youngest of 5. I have 4 older brothers, 21, 22, 25, and 28. Just to give some background, my mom has always loved being a boy mom. She dotes on them and made it very, very clear she never wanted to and didn't like having a daughter. She never liked me, and I accepted that long time ago. And her behavior towards me worsened when my dad left her. When I turned 16, her gift to me was a list of jobs I can apply to pay for my expenses, even though my dad was giving her child support. Then at 17, she kicked me out because I wasn't willing to pay more than $400 rent, while my brothers didn't even work. So she asked to meet me for lunch last weekend and told me she is sick. She has been in and out of the hospital the last few months before she found out she's sick, and looking at 12 to 18 months before she'll be too weak/ill to care for herself. She asked that when the time came if I'd be willing to be her caretaker, as she didn't want men, aka my brothers, to take care of her in that state and didn't want a stranger to do it either. Here's where I'm questioning if I'm the a-hole. I told her no, I won't care for her and she should start looking for someone she knows who'd be willing to because I'm not. This past week, I've been receiving nasty messages from everyone from my mom's Facebook because she posted about me not caring about her. They've called me unsympathetic, selfish, mean-spirited, uncaring, etc. My brothers have also been mad at me, and now I feel like an a-hole and I want to know if I am. Not the a-hole. You don't owe her anything. She has 4 children she has invested in. You aren't one of them. She can have a return on her investment through her precious boys. Deactivate Facebook, change your number if you have to, focus on your success and survival because if you don't, no one else will. Or tag this post in every Facebook comment and post mom makes. Let them judge based on her treatment of you, and how she now wants you to give up your life to take care of her when she charged you rent from 16 and kicked you out at 17. Not stay home big time, she doesn't deserve any help from you. Air the dirty laundry. See how sympathetic people are after they see how she treated you. I'm so sorry you have such a terrible mom. I'm going to be quite honest. My mom's friends who witnessed how she treated me firsthand, they didn't care then, and doubt they will now. I'm sure her Facebook friends knows too. She never posted me or about me. They can't not know she disliked me. Sounds like her Facebook friends would be the perfect people she can ask to be her caregiver. If they think it's so awful of you, they can step right up. Edit. I want to clarify I do not live with my mom and haven't for over 2 years now. When she put me out, I never went back. My dad is involved in my life, but I keep him at a distance because I'm still going through stuff, which I'm going to therapy for, and partly blame him for never sticking up for me because he knew how she treated me. But he is here for me and I have friends and family on my dad's side who's supporting me. And I've been going through the comments and reading DMs bawling my eyes out. Y'all are so nice, and I want to thank all of you for your kind words. It means so much. I'll give you all virtual hugs because you guys really made my night. Thank you. Am I the a-hole for checking out of parental duties after my wife said I'm not the father? My wife and I have been married for about 4 years. She brought 3 kids from previous relationships into the marriage, while I have none. They moved into my house after the marriage because I live in a better school district. Obviously, we've had our ups and downs, but overall it's been good, until a couple of weeks ago when I woke up and found a large dent running down the entire passenger side of my car. The dent is about a hand wide, starts at the front fender and runs down all the way to the rear tire. I was furious. I thought someone sideswept my car as it was parked on the street. I checked our doorbell camera to see if it recorded anything and was surprised our 16-year-old daughter sneaking out of the house in the middle of the night and driving off in my car. She later returned hours later stumbling into the house. Outside of those 2 events, the doorbell camera didn't record anything else but a couple of passing cars that didn't come close to mine. I angrily showed my wife the recording and told her our daughter needs to be punished. But she said that she'll talk to her. I argued that talk isn't enough, which led us into an argument. My wife argued that the new family dynamic has been hard on the kids, while I argued that it doesn't excuse the damage done to my car. I wanted her to agree to ground our daughter from social media and make her get a job to pay for the damage. We argued for hours, until she said I don't get a say in any punishment because I'm not her father. That ended the argument, and I walked off. Since then, I've checked out of any parental duties. I've been an adult and still make sure the kids are safe and fed, but I haven't done anything a father would do. They had doctor's appointment last week for their checkups because they play sports in school, and I refused to drive them, causing my wife to have to take off work. They start school next week and I've dropped them off ever since they moved in, but I told my wife she'll have to do it this year. She argued she can't because of her work schedule, but I answered a mother would figure it out. She called me a child and to grow up. I think since I'm not the father, I don't have to take on the responsibilities of one, but obviously she disagrees. Am I the a-hole? Edit. My wife wants me to report it to my insurance as a hit and run. She said that way no one has to pay for it. I argue that I'll have to pay for it in the long run because they'll jack up my rates. I'm not ignoring the kids, and I still talk to them daily. I just don't do or make any parental decisions like I stated above. Also, the other day, our son asked me if he should play basketball or football, and I told him to go ask his mother. My wife wants me to report it to my insurance as a hit and run. She said that way no one has to pay for it. Insurance fraud is a crime. Don't do it. Also, you had better report the theft of your car and the accident to the police. She obviously hit something with it, and there's a good chance a camera somewhere recorded your car, and it can't be traced back to you. Then I think you should separate. Her daughter committed at least 3 serious crimes: auto theft, drunk driving, and hit and run. She has put you at risk of being sued and possibly arrested. You can't live in a home where that behavior isn't dealt with. This accurately describes the can of worms your wife just threw into your lap. Wife is more interested in covering the aspect of herself and daughter than doing the right thing. What's the bet that the talk she would have had with a daughter would have been nothing? Not the a-hole. Your wife doesn't get to pick and choose when you get to act like a parental authority. She's also wrong about the hit and run scenario. If you get it repaired, you'll have to pay your deductible, and it will jack up your rates. It's interesting that she thinks the way to deal with her daughter's behavior is to commit insurance fraud. But most importantly, this is a huge significant problem. Her 16-year-old daughter is knocked out at night and came home apparently drunk. I'm an insurance adjuster handling serious injury/fatality claims. I've had to speak to the heartbroken parents of dead teenagers a sickening number of times. I've also had to look at scene photos of dead teenagers far too often. If your wife doesn't address this immediately and strongly, she's putting her daughter's life at risk. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not making my fiancé's breakfast correctly on the first try and then getting upset by her comments after? My 32 male fiancé, 31 female, was working from home this morning. I asked her if she would like some bacon and egg sandwich. She said yes. She does prefer mayo on both sides of the toast when she has this, but as I prepared it all, I forgot. As soon as I said it in front of her, I remembered and said, "Hold on, I forgot the mayo and I'll go put it on real quick." To which she replied, "Forget it, it's ruined now." I got upset by this comment as it made me feel as if I had somehow ruined breakfast. So I tried to explain that it was an easy remedy and that the sandwich was most definitely not ruined. She told me to just forget it again, so I went back into the kitchen and finished making my sandwich and sat down. She came in and started to talk about how she thought it would be a fried egg, which again just felt like she was complaining about nothing, as I never said I would be making a fried egg, just stated bacon and egg sandwich. When I got upset that she seemed to still just be complaining, she basically told me that I was wrong, that she wasn't complaining and was just making comments, and I was being an a-hole for being upset since she didn't say anything wrong. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I scrambled the eggs in a bowl with some seasoning and a bit of milk. Put it in the bacon grease and waited until it was cooked on the bottom. Flipped the egg like a pancake and cooked the other side. Cut it in half and put it on the toast like a sandwich. Not the a-hole. Here's a great solution though. Never make her anything ever again. Or dump her. That's another good option. She sounds entitled and ungrateful AF. The fact that she tried to walk back and twist what she said is the icing on the cake. I wasn't complaining when I said forget it, it's ruined. I was just making a neutral comment. That's gaslighting and a pretty abhorrent way to treat you. Not to complain, but you completely ruined this sandwich for me. Not criticizing you, just saying. Or my absolute favorite. I'm just stating facts. I'm not complaining. It's just completely ruined is all. Hey, you know her saying it's ruined repeatedly isn't okay. Respect yourself. Maybe she had a bad day, maybe there is context here. But if she's just like that, spitting in the face of your kind gestures, then she's not good enough for you. Not the a-hole king. Yeah, if this isn't a pattern of behavior, I'm curious as to what caused this. It's clearly unrelated to cooking. Not the a-hole. If she's willing to be a jerk over a sandwich, imagine what she's like over other major decisions. Can you just end the engagement but call it an engagement? No reason, just to infuriate her. It's over. Easy. This relationship is going to break fast. Edit 2. I appreciate everyone's thoughts and concerns. I had no idea this would jump up to almost 400 comments in an hour. Please feel free to keep commenting, but I apologize if I no longer reply. I feel like I got the answers I needed and will be having a deeper discussion with my fiancé tonight when she gets off work. Thank you again, everyone. You have all made me feel a lot better and given me the knowledge I believe I need to move forward. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to keep doing chores for my wife? I'm 28 male and have been married to my wife Bella, 28 female, for 5 years. We both met and went to the same college. She pre-law while I was doing animation. She graduated top of our class and went to a T20 law school. While she was in law school, I had a lot of trouble finding a job in my field, or a job at all really. I ended up working in a kitchen as a line cook to help support us, in addition to loans she took out while she was going to school so she could just focus on her classes. Bella got a very good job in a different state after she graduated, so I quit my job and haven't gotten another one since. We have no kids, a nice house for the two of us, and are overall living very, very comfortably. She works very long hours, so I take care of most of the household things. Cleaning, cooking, grocery shopping, repainting the walls, and doing other work and renovations to the house. In the last 6 months, Bella started referring to me as her house husband around our family and friends. I've mostly been letting it go, but every single time it bothers me. I'm already insecure about not being able to find a good job, and it makes me feel even more inadequate. I finally got to the end of my rope when we were with her mother on Sunday, who still doesn't really approve of me, and they were talking about taking care of the lawn/garden, and she said, "Thank goodness I have a house husband for that, or I'd never find a time," and smiled at me. Then they both laughed. It was humiliating. I didn't say anything at first, but I guess she could tell that I was really upset and asked what was wrong. I told her that she needed to stop emasculating me and making it seem like I didn't contribute anything to the household. We were arguing back and forth, and she told me that she would stop calling me a house husband if I was going to get that upset about it, but that it wasn't an untrue term, and I needed to stop being insecure. Bella refuses to apologize, and I feel like she doesn't fully appreciate my value as her husband. So, I've stopped doing the chores until she apologizes, and she's beyond mad. She's been coming home and cooking dinner, only for herself, and doing the chores I haven't, and then taking off to spend the night at a friend's house. I was talking to my sister about it, and she told me that Bella was wrong, but I was being immature in my response. The thing is, if I give in, she's going to keep thinking what she's been doing is okay. I don't even know anymore. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Darling, you are a house husband. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, or being a housewife. Why do you believe that it is a put down or emasculating? It is an equal contribution to your family and household. It holds value. It permits your wife to work longer hours at her job without trying to also maintain the household. If you're truly unhappy in that role, do something about it. Look for work in your chosen field or look into going back for new qualifications. You're the a-hole for getting upset about a factually correct statement. Nah, as a housewife myself, I'd be so annoyed if my husband said he had a housewife to take care of stuff. If it was, I'm so glad the wife takes care of all of that. It would be fine. But to reduce her spouse to just their position rather than a person is demeaning. I agree with you, though I do think OP abandoning his position as a house husband to manipulate an apology is what makes him the a-hole, not being upset about it. It's an immature way to go about it, especially considering she has committed to not refer to him as a house husband anymore. Tone is important. Thank God I have a house husband or else I'd never find a time to garden. Isn't exactly a compliment when it's followed by laughter. The same exact way that someone being a housewife isn't a big deal, but going, "Thank God my wife is a housewife, so I get to come home to a nice meal," is kinda condescending. It's like referring to your wife as my housewife instead of my wife. Exactly this. My mom would be extremely proud that her husband relies on her for a hot meal, and she loves being the housewife. Me? I'd feel degraded. Not that there's anything wrong with the label, but we can't always control how we feel about certain things. I'm more career-driven, and I suck at the domestic stuff around the house. But to be honest, my heart isn't in it anyway. I hate cooking and cleaning. So if my husband ever said something along those lines, I would feel like he's taking a stab at me to make me feel bad about myself. Opie never aspired to be a house husband. He's just doing what needs to be done. But a label makes him feel like that's his duty and he should be proud, but feels bad because he doesn't. I get it. He never envisioned that for himself, and so any comments made towards it is very sensitive. He sacrificed his dreams to land on that role. He didn't aspire to be a house husband. It hits different. Last story. Am I the a-hole for serving my 30 female sister-in-law, 32 female, dinner on a kid's plate? My husband and I have family dinners at our house every month or so with our family. I have some sets of fine china that I like to switch out between the seasons that I've inherited from my grandmother. When we have our get-togethers, I serve dinners on these plates. My mother-in-law compliments them every time. My sister-in-law, however, has made comments to me that they're not her style. I honestly didn't think twice her comment about it until this past February when one of my plates was put in the sink, broken. Chalked it up to an accident. In April, we had another dinner. This time, sister-in-law was carrying both her and her boyfriend's plates to the sink and accidentally dropped both. Again, no biggie at all. In May, she broke 2 more plates. And in June, she broke a plate and a cup. At this point, I was catching on, so I brought up these concerns to my husband and he brushed it off as accident. I told my mom, and she said she thought my sister-in-law was doing it on purpose and got me a camera to put in my dining room. In July, we had dinner and I had an opportunity arise. My mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and her boyfriend joined us for dinner. While our plates were still on the table, my mother-in-law asked how many plants we're doing, and I said I'd show her. I told my husband to follow us outside so he could show her the plant is growing, leaving sister-in-law alone with her boyfriend. When we came back inside 5 minutes later, her plate was broken. When they left, I pulled up the camera footage. I saw her stand up when we walked out and peek around a corner, and then throw the plate on the ground. I kept this video to myself. That brings me to this past weekend. We had our family dinner and we were joined by my in-laws, sister-in-law and her boyfriend, as well as my parents, siblings, and niece. I served everyone, saving evil sister-in-law for last. I brought her food on a child's plate with a sippy cup and got those kids silverware with the plastic handles. She looked at me confused and said, "I think you mixed my plate up with your niece's plate." And I said, "No, my niece is responsible enough to eat on a grown-up's plate. If you're going to act like a child in my home, I'm going to treat you like a child in my home." She tried to play coy, but I had my iPad ready and played a video to everyone at a table. She started sobbing, swiped the kid's plate off the table, and stormed out. My in-laws both apologized and offered to pay for replacement plates, but I told them not to worry about it. Despite this, we still had a nice time. When everyone left, my husband told me I was out of line and cruel, but I told him that this has been happening for months, and I've told him it was bothering me multiple times. It's Wednesday. He's still being a little too cold to me, and I also got a text from my sister-in-law's boyfriend asking me if I would apologize to her because I really embarrassed her. I sent him the video again, and he left me on red. My husband just called me to ask if I was taunting her boyfriend because his sister called him crying that I was. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You're amazing. You have nothing to apologize for. Your sister-in-law does have lots of things to apologize for, though. I do feel bad that I embarrassed her. I spoke with her mom today and she and my father-in-law have my back, and that I should demand her to pay for the plates. And if she doesn't, they would. But I'm not going to make anyone do that. I got them for my grandma, so they were special to me. Money can't help the sadness of not having them back. That makes me so angry for you. I'm very sorry that she did that to your plates. Hopefully you still have the remaining set to remember her by. I'm glad your in-laws are on your side. Just remember that she embarrassed herself. She's a grown woman. Not the a-hole. Your husband and your sister-in-law's boyfriend are a-holes, though. You inherited those from your grandmother. Sister-in-law has something seriously wrong with her mentally. Who breaks someone else's plates just because they aren't her style? Who cares about someone else's plates? It's a plate, and it's not her house. She's behaving like a child, and she deserves to be treated like one and called out. What a psycho. Does she display any other type of aggressive behaviors to you? She sounds jealous and is throwing a tantrum like a toddler. We were totally fine before this. We've never been like super close, but close enough to grab a coffee and get our nails done together. I've been married into the family now for 6 years, and I love my in-laws. She was mildly passive-aggressive in May when she asked if her boyfriend could live with us while they were having a small issue, but it was my husband that said no. But this would have been during the plate and cup breaking.